Good morning and welcome to Trading with Larry Benedict, joined by Eric Shamalov. Eric, good morning. A lot to talk about today. Kind of want to, again, up early. Was watching a little bit of the market last night, overnight. And I'm here today, a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about that really no one is talking about is the Fed minutes yesterday, which usually tell you not a lot, but the Fed minutes, I thought, were very clear and concise to a lot of different issues. One is basically the Fed is split down the middle, and they're split. He didn't actually come out and say this, but they're actually so on hold that they are not even saying whether the next move is going to be up or down for rates. We all know they're going to be down because Trumpy Bumpy is in and he's wants lower rates and he's got his guy coming. But the Fed is really signaling that they're fully cooked and fully done. But I would tell you one thing that I noticed as well is they talked about asset prices and bubbles. I don't know if they used the word bubble. I don't think they did, but having stretched asset prices, having risk in the market, and having froth, they literally address that in the minutes. So no one's talking about that. No one really cares because all we are is I hate to press on this, but we're a gambling casino. This is all we are. There are no clues here that anybody could see to make whether the next move is up or down. The only move you're going to see is a gamma move or whatever. And, you know, the S&P on cash over cash to where we are now is up like 6 points on the year, but they're pricing puts down 100 bid to the moon. So I'm just not sure what's going on in this tape and why. I mean, straddle's a little, we'll get to the straddle in a bit, but the straddle's a little lighter than it's been, but not a lot. And the wings are sky high. And what I'm seeing, which led me to be a little bit more productive on the market, has kind of turned here. You have the Nikkei down, over 1%. You have the DAX down a little over 1%. You have these markets down over 1% that have really held our market in. So I'm thinking, there's a potential, that we could leg lower, but I don't know if you took more out of the Fed minutes, but to me, the Fed minutes were, no one cares because all this is, I don't know. We used to play like video games are different now because you're like killing actual people, characters in video games. But when I had video games, they had like, Space Invaders and all this other stuff. But like, this is like a video game, I guess, that my kids play where they try to knock down, the bad villain. And they hit him and they hit him and they hit him, and then the villain comes back to life, and and that literally, if you sit for 2 hours and watch the E-mini trade after 9:30, your head would explode. You can't even watch it. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Like there's no human being even doing this. And I've said this before on the podcast. I used to be a pretty large future trader. I don't even touch futures. You can't even do it. It's like liquid heroin. I mean, the options are enough, and everything is about where the positions are, how they can screw the most people. It's a weird market, but I do think the Fed's comments are concerning. They're concerning in a number of different ways because at this point, Powell is telling the truth because he has nothing not to tell the truth. The new guy coming in is not going to tell the truth. Okay, he's just going to go the way of Trump. But I really think all of this mantra is going to fall apart. Because like, even look at bonds now. Bonds looked like they were going below 4, right? Now they're 410. They're right back. They're not doing anything, but they're right back to where they were. And we talked about this. Where can they go? Think about it. Where can they go? You got Fed funds at 3 3/4 stuck. Where are they going? I mean, they're at 4%. You have a flat yield curve. And you know, I don't see a lot, but this is the market that we're in. This is the cards that we're dealt right now. The you know a little bit about this yesterday. What was that?
I didn't say anything, but
Oh,
what I got from the Fed minutes was they were actually talking about raising rates. A lot of them. It was a very hawkish minutes. Very surprising.
yeah. I mean, I think they were mixed. I mean, even if they're hawkish, they're not going to be able to ever raise rates with Trump here. He'll freak out. So I don't think a raise is in, but I definitely think a hold is in, definitely until the handoff of the baton um, to Warsh. Um, Fed will be on hold. I thought the more concerning thing is they were addressing asset prices, and they're concerned. So if they're concerned, how come we're not concerned? We're not concerned. We're good.
We are in a bifurcated market. Everything is is up and down, and every day you have half the market up, half the market down, and net net, like you mentioned, I think it's a great metric. S&P's flat, and we're having 100-point moves every day.
Okay, but what does that mean? Why? I know the answer. I'll let you. I'll see if we have the same answer. Why? Why are we moving 100 points every
You,
hour? Since
well,
we
you
got on
talk
the
about
time out. Since we got on
yeah.
the podcast, the S&P rallied 10 handles. It looked like it was going to fall into the lake. Okay, and then they rallied 10 handles, and now no one can sell. Um, that's the market we're in. But go ahead.
You say the market is rigged and there's computer algos dominating this, but imagine a room like full of people, like crowded to the brim,
Kind of like the
right? There's
trading floor. Kind of like the trading
kind
floor.
of like a trading floor, except
Okay.
now it's retail. Everybody's doing something else, and that could explain the price action as well. I feel like everybody's in the market in some way, and it's just causing. I think everybody's collectively confused.
Then why would we move 100 handles? If everybody's confused, nothing would happen.
Precisely because we're collectively confused. I feel like the
I
market is
understand, but
collect.
why? But if you're confused, why do you want to make a trade? I don't understand. Like, if you're not fully committed to what you're seeing or whatever, why would you make a trade? I think this is completely different. I think I have a pretty good handle on what this is. So this is like, and you see it at exactly 9:30 every day. Like 9:30 to 9:32, you have retail buying every single day. Like, so if the SPOO is down 20, all of a sudden it's down 10 right on the opening. Then those idiots get wiped out by like 10 o'clock. And then there's a whole new wave of players in the game. But what's interesting is, and we discussed this a little this morning when we spoke, option volume is up.
That's interesting. I'm sorry. That's very interesting. By the way, the fact that it's like a known thing that retail is trading at 9, like exactly at 9:30. They can't wait to hit the buttons.
It's
Like, what do
every
you
day.
suggest to people? Do you suggest, especially in this market environment, if you're trading, to kind of step away that first half hour and just kind of watch?
No,
Like, how do
I
you?
like to get in. I like to get involved in the first 10 to 15 minutes because they are dislocating pricing. So I like that. But here's what I wanted to get to, which I think is really important for people watching. The E-mini S&P, which basically is the future price of the S&P and really runs the show in general, trades all night, doesn't close down. Um, that volume over the last 10 years is actually lower than where it was 10 years ago. Okay. So 10 years ago, more futures on a daily basis in E-minis probably traded on average. I have to check that, but I'm pretty sure. There was no such thing as zero DTE. So they invented a new asset class or a new class of options, and those over the last, let's say they've been listed for, probably, you know, it was originally Friday, then it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then now it's every day. But let's say those are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. They have exponentially gone up 100%. Okay. Millions of contracts on a daily basis. So what do you think that I mean that to me is just a full gambling casino. And you know what's interesting about it? You don't even really have to know about options. So, like if we're putting on an option trade for our customers at the opportunistic trader, or, even for myself, that's not, short dated, we're doing a lot of analysis. We're doing the Greeks. We know where a put should be because of the price of the call, many, many variables that give us a good ability to price options, which is the key to trading, key to putting on option positions. 99.9% of the people trading options today don't have any idea about that, don't care. They want to bet green and they want green to hit by 3 o'clock today. And if green doesn't hit, they lose their money and they keep coming back until they lose all their money. And that's when you ask that what the market is, that's the market. Okay. That's the market. And, you know, they're very prevalent in the market right now, as you can see, because on a day where the S&P is kind of flat, right? It was down 25, it was up 25 overnight, it's trading flat. The straddle is still 40. You're telling me it's $47. Okay. That, relative to what we've seen, that's pretty high. I'm not suggesting to sell that, but that's pretty high. So the casino game is still going on. Around this casino game, there's now Polymarket, Kalshi, and a couple of other sites that you can bet where Bitcoin's going to be in the next 10 minutes, where the NASDAQ future is going to be in the next half hour. And people are betting money on this. So you don't even need options. Why trade options when you can bet anything you want? You can get, like, if you think the market's going to be up 100 NASDAQ points, you can probably get 4 to 1, 3 to 1. Why bother executing options, having to get in, get out, get screwed on pricing? All you got is a bet right there and it trades. So the odds go up and down as the market moves up and down. And it's liquid to one little thing and you're not getting screwed. And that's what I think people are finding out, that they're gambling and they're just picking one thing to to do rather than having to buy an option, see where it is. You have one thing and that's what people are going to do. And listen, that's all that's wrong with the market. There is no analysis, there's no fundamentals, there's no anything. All they're worried about is the next 20 points in futures so they could cash the ticket. And that's the market we're in. That's going to lead to big trouble. Why the SEC is not all over this, okay? Because listen, these are securities in my mind, okay? They're the same thing as betting an option. It's funny when they show the games like on a sport, like the Super Bowl, the spread is 5 points. So it's like 65-35. Okay. That's the same thing as betting the money line. People just don't understand that. They're betting the money line, with giving up a little edge. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing crazy gambling. It makes me really leery that something is going to happen here. Not understanding why in a market that's up 5 points or 7 points for the year, that we have, $50 straddles and out of the money options, like down 90 points in puts or bid to the moon, and I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, because they want people to sell those so that they can get there and press everybody. You know, like yesterday they got there on the upside, and then they faded off. Okay. Today they may get there on the downside, and then maybe they'll go through because there's so much gamma. I don't know. It's kind of trading's changed. Like I used to come in, I go, oh, DAX, FTSE, CAC is down, Nikkei's down, the dollar looks strong, bonds are weak. That gives me an advantage, and I think the market should probably go lower. And I would put a position on basis that. Do you know how little any of that means? Do you know how little that means right now? How about nothing? How about nothing? They can make it a false clue. So the DAX right now is down even more. It's getting hammered now. It's down almost 300. Okay, our S&P didn't even sell off. Okay, all of a sudden S&P sell off a little, everyone gets long, and then they bring the DAX back 50 points, and then they rally our market. That's why, I was talking to a friend, I don't know if he's on today, but we were talking about how broken the market is under the hood, and you agree. Okay, but it doesn't matter because like yesterday they took the broken stocks up, right? They took Amazon up, they took all the broken stocks up. So in a way, yeah, these stocks are broken. They should go lower. They don't look that good. But when Palantir's at 126, it can only help the market because it went back to 133. It shouldn't even be back to 133, but it's back to 133, and then the market's okay. So all of these things that we're looking at are false clues to the market. They're false clues. And today, you even said it yourself. Let's see what they're buying today and let's see what they're selling. Like every day they have to buy something. Why do they have to buy something every day? Can you tell me why?
I think it's the access to data. I think it's the use of AI. They have so much data now, and they could analyze that data very quickly. And when you have so much data,
Yeah,
you
but what
want
does the
to
data have to do with whether Apple
look
is
for
up or
relative
down today?
value. You want to look for relative value in and out. And I think the market conditions right now are good for that kind of trade. I think this is a stock picker's paradise right now.
Eric, I'm not
You
disagreeing. It
listen,
makes no it
markets
makes no
change.
sense. It makes no sense. You don't know. If the market's down, they may buy Apple today. They may not. Okay. Tomorrow they may buy Nvidia and sell Apple. The next day they might buy yesterday they bought them both and sold another stock. You can't tell. You can't tell. And this is not fundamental analysis. This is just what it is. You can go in today and go, oh, and then what happens is, let's say the market's going down, Apple's going up. As soon as the market goes up, what does Apple do?
Yeah, I understand.
What does Apple do when the market goes up in that scenario?
It goes down, and then the next day, I know that we see that, but we see that
Right.
on an intraday basis. But when you zoom out, right, over the last 5 months, you've been talking about the AI trade in a bubble. You've been talking about uh, quant, quantum computing. There's certain areas of the market in a bubble. You kind of look at the board. All that stuff is down over the last 5 months. So at the
Yeah, but
same time, yeah,
I looked at it yesterday.
hold up,
Time out.
hold up. At the same time, you see intraday chaos, but when you zoom out, things kind of make fundamental sense.
Do they? Is Palantir up or down? Do you consider Palantir up or down? I'm just trying to let's use that stock because that's like the baby.
I don't know what
boom.
time frame are you looking
I'm
at?
asking, do you think Palantir, if you're looking at Palantir at the level it's trading right now, do you think it's up or down? Like, do you think it's up or down? That's all.
From what time period? I don't know. Year
The
to
time
date,
period
2 years.
of a year, a time period of 2 years, it's up over 100%. Yes, it is
Okay,
down off the high 50%, but it's still up
that's a lot.
100%. And then I'll give you a better one. Everyone in Palantir right now is destroyed. How are you destroyed? If you bought the stock at 90,
Okay, okay. You've been calling for these stocks to come down, and they
no, I'm
have.
not,
They
Eric. I'm
have.
asking,
What else do you want?
I'm trying to bring up a point. Okay. Everyone I know who's in Palantir is up money. They're pretty much up money. Now, listen, the suckers that bought up at 180 or 200 or whatever, to add to their position, they brought up their cost. But everybody's in this stock at basically between 90 and 110. Okay. So they're up money. Okay. But guess what, Eric? They're not up money. You know why they're not up money? Because they saw it at 200 and they saw their account at that number and they want that number. So they're crying to me every day that Palantir's down. But how can it be down? People are up money. That's what I'm not understanding about the market. Is it that people are living on the money that they didn't take the profits on and are now down money? Like, what is it? I think there's a big
That,
problem here.
that point, yes. I think that is a great point. that I think there's a lot of that happening.
Listen, there are ETFs out there called Yield Max. I wouldn't, anyone that put their customer in it should be shot. Okay. They raise billions of dollars. Okay. Because they basically said you're getting a 35% dividend. That sounds pretty good. You put money in that, right? 35% dividend sounds sexy, right? You get to live on the money. Guess what happened? The stocks are down 70%. They got the 35% dividend, spent the dividend, which the dividend wasn't the dividend, it's a return of capital. Okay. They spent that money to live, and now their asset is down 70%. That's what's happening. That's the market. People are running in, they need money today. Now, how, if we're in that kind of market where you need money today and things are like this, how is that good? How is that good? How are people complaining about Nvidia at 180? How are they complaining? The all time high is 210, 212, 214. How are they? Just explain to me how they're complaining. How are they complaining? They're up money. Why? I mean, you know it, you hear it from your friends. Okay. Is everyone complaining?
Everyone,
Right.
everyone. The only people actually the only people not complaining are the ones that are actually passive
Right.
investors. My
Passive investors are up.
They're not
Passive
complaining. I never
investors.
hear a complaint from them. I don't hear any complaints. Who I do hear complaints from are people that continue to chase highs. They believe in every move to the upside. They're looking for it for price confirmation to get in even higher, and they're using options, and they're all in the same trade. That's the other thing. It's not like, okay, I'm going to have some Nvidia, right? I'm going to short whatever. They're not thinking like that. They have like 10, 15 positions. All of them have the exact same correlation. All of them are the same
Dude, your
trade.
friends have a lot of positions. I mean, my guys have 5 positions, and I can give them all to you on the air. Nvidia, Palantir. There's some drone stock that I don't want to mention the name that
Okay,
everyone in my
same
community is
stuff.
in.
It's the same stuff, right? It's everything is the same stuff. So
Right. But the funny thing is, if NVIDIA has bad earnings and goes down 25, 30%, the gross GDP will collapse. Okay. Because every single person in the United States owns NVIDIA. And I would tell you that 5 years ago, no one even knew what NVIDIA was. Okay. We did because we were in the market. It was a gaming chip company. Okay. Then all of a sudden it got into AI, and whatever, and made all the chips for AI. But come on. I mean, nobody even heard of this stock maybe 5 years ago, but 7 years ago, no one ever heard of this stock. Never heard of it. Now it's the most important stock in everybody's portfolio. And that's a problem. And I got friends that are long it from 120 that are complaining. How could you complain? That's what I'm trying to understand. Complaining, I'm getting killed, is what they're saying. When it went down to 170, they're getting killed. How are they getting killed, Eric? Is this market just not a true paper tiger? Honestly, is it?
I
I
think it's
mean,
a little fake. I do think it's a little fake. I also think that this new mantra we have, like AI disruption, uh, and they're going after software. They went after Expedia, CBRE, which is a real estate broker. They're kind of looking for that. I think like the market is kind of getting is internally sensing the bull market may be a little bit stretched, and they're looking for a way out of it. But again, this mantra feels fake. Like when markets fall, they just fall. Like you always say, they just fall or they just go up. So I think this is really what we're seeing right now, all of this rotation and all that. It's not healthy. I think it's telling us something, and I think it's a prelude for a much bigger move, a move where it's like, okay, we see the direction very clearly. I think we're setting up for a situation where there's no quarter in the market. The other thing is people are like buying, like I'm noticing a lot of like intraday, you know, you go into you go into the Nasdaq, and silver goes up with it. that kind of intraday correlation.
Oh, what do
You
you mean?
know,
Listen, that is so correlated that it's unbelievable. Okay. Okay.
right? So
Which
all
is,
of these
but time
correlations.
out, time out. Silver and gold are correlated to the market totally. That's why when silver fell out of bed last Thursday, a week ago, to $64, okay, it was because the stock market was down small, okay, and they're taking risk off. The one that's weird to me, okay, right now, which I feel is washed out, it may go lower, but it doesn't have a lot lower to go, is Bitcoin. And you know, I've been bearish on this thing forever and ever and ever. And I'm not bullish, but I just think it's a washed out trade. But yesterday, for example, Bitcoin was that risk on, risk off asset for a while, right? Now, Bitcoin is just not even, if the market goes up, Bitcoin doesn't go up, it goes down. If the market goes down, Bitcoin goes down. So, that went off the rails. And the same thing is going to happen with silver and gold. It's not happening now. And you're picking up, to be honest with you, a very good, what I would call correlation. Okay. Today is decoupled from that because gold and silver are slightly higher. Gold's up $20 and silver's up 1%. So they're flattish, um, but you could almost count on that if the market takes a leg lower today, failing and going down. So I like that correlation trade right now. Um,
Yeah, I'm forced to look at it. Like, I never used to look at like when I'm looking at the Nasdaq, I would never look at silver 2 3 years ago. I would never look at that.
bro,
Now
listen,
I'm now I almost
I just had a PS, what is it? TSD. I had a moment where I'm flashing back to where I had to talk about Bitcoin with you every day for freaking a year. Every day I had to listen to it. Literally listen to it every day for a year. You haven't mentioned Bitcoin in months. I mean, you are actually Johnny Price. Okay. If Bitcoin goes back to 100, you will be chirping like there's nobody's business. Okay. You haven't mentioned Bitcoin as a buy at all.
keep it
You
coming,
don't
Larry.
like
Keep
it
it
at
coming.
60. You don't like it at 65. I want to just,
I love
let the folks on
more
the air that are
BS you
listening
see, the
to
more
us,
my P&L goes up. Keep it coming. Come on, more, more.
dude. Nobody cared. Okay, you care about your P&L. These guys want to
Hey,
make P&Ls. Okay, so since you're making so much money,
I think
why don't
these
you give
guys
it
want
to
to
us?
hear about trades. I think these guys want to hear about
No,
trades. I
I
think we
want
should.
to just say this. We will get to that. It's only 9 o'clock. Okay. I just want to get to the fact that we're at 65,000 on Bitcoin and you have zero interest and you do not talk about it. I'm just letting you
I
know.
have a lot of interest. I told you when I'm getting in. The way I trade Bitcoin is very, very simple. I look at Bitcoin as a very simple
You wait for
animal.
it to go. Where are you getting in? 80,000,
Where I
85,000?
am Johnny Price, you call me Johnny Price, but where I actually am Johnny Price is with Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's where that's where being Johnny Price actually works.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Okay.
want my system with
That's
Bitcoin.
why it's very funny. I'll just tell the people on the air, it's very funny how different we are. It's like crazy, actually.
100%.
Yesterday, I'll tell you why. Yesterday, market in the last hour was selling off. You're chirping again, like you usually do. We're going down. Rah, rah. And I'm like, dude, the
Well, I do
market
that
is
to
up.
get in your
Time out. Can you let me finish a sentence,
sure,
please?
sure,
I'm begging
sure.
you. Thank you. So now
How long?
the market comes in 40 points. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just, I'm covering my short and I'm buying a little here. And then we rally 30 handles and then you're buying again. So I trade in a way where I want to buy. This is how I do it, or what I like to do. I like to buy, like yesterday, if we're up, 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 and up, and then we come off a significant amount on still an up day, I like to buy that just for a trade. I'm not in it. I didn't take it overnight, but just for a trade. Okay. You're looking at the market $70 lower than the high, and you're thinking it's going down, which it may. But I'm just saying that's the difference. So, like, you will not touch Bitcoin for the next 10,000. You may, I don't know, for the next
Mhm, mhm,
10,000 Bitcoin points. Okay. You
mhm,
won't touch it.
mhm.
which is fine. But as soon as it gets in your meme world or whatever, or your buddy, who's long this thing starts talking, chirping again that he's doing good, you'll buy it. So whatever. We just have different
Do
methodologies.
you
But I
remember
want,
our conversation yesterday with the market at the dead high of the day? And what did I say? What trade did I say I'm making?
dude, you are perfect. You had the dead high, bro. You actually sold on an
So how am
exchange
I
that no
Johnny
one
Price?
saw. You
I was
sold
I was
you
selling
sold
in the
higher
money.
than the high. Dude, I'm
Hold
gonna
up, hold
pat
up,
you on
hold
the
up.
shoulder. Great trade, man. Great trade. I
There
don't
you go.
know.
But
You had the
that
high.
so your whole Johnny Price BS goes out the window with that,
Okay,
doesn't it?
whatever. It's not a bad thing. Dude, it's not a
It's
bad
not
thing.
anything. It's not true. I don't know what
Okay,
you're talking.
okay, okay. So
Now,
what
where
are you
Johnny
what are
Price
you
is a good
what are you doing?
strategy is
Wait, what are you doing today? Iron Condor. Iron Condor.
no, I don't know about Iron Condor today, dude. Why don't we talk about that a little bit? So, you're mentioning the wings are expensive. Are they? I mean, I'm looking
Very,
at
very,
really.
very, very.
I
I
mean,
don't
a
know,
percent
Eric.
out.
I don't know. We're going to go up 60 points from here for what reason? There's no economic news. There's no earnings. There's no, listen, there's always, geopolitical, there's always anything that no, that's every single day. But barring any of that, what would make the market move 60% today? For what reason? Like, what's going on? Like, there's zero going on. We're a fully unchanged market. We're fully. You have to admit, the Fed is confused. We're confused. We're a fully confused market that probably has work to do on the downside, but they won't let
Yeah,
this thing drop because they have too much invested in it. Jane and Ken, to keep the rig going. And when I say rig, what happens is, I was a specialist on the floor. All the orders in the product that I traded came right to me. Okay. I saw the orders. Do you think that's an advantage? No?
clearly,
What?
clearly,
Right.
clearly.
Okay. So now they're seeing it with thousands of orders at one time. They got 1,000 orders to buy Nvidia at the same time. What do you think they do? When I was a specialist or when I was a market maker, I had to stand up and sell that stuff. Okay. There are no rules. They go in and rip the stock, make the public pay crazy. And that's why we have what we have. So, you know, the reason why all this stuff on the downside or the upside, I feel is fairly safe, but not as safe as what it would be, is because you got Ken and Jane and a couple other culprits front running orders all day. So if they get, listen, you even said it, they got sophisticated equipment. They can tell who's buying what, where they're buying it, what the prices are, what options are open. Listen, you know, it's unbelievable. And if you look at the market, like now with this defined outcome, let me ask you a question. You don't think I mean, I'm looking at this to set up an account at Kalshi or whatever, because there may be better markets betting for or against Bitcoin moving or NASDAQ moving rather than having to stay. Why do I want to stay in options for 5 hours or 6 hours? I can be in and out in 20 minutes. They had Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Is it going to be above 68,000 at 10 o'clock? I mean, I don't know. I mean, isn't that a
You,
better
so
place?
you think instead of zero DT options, we're gonna have like hourly options one day?
Those are hourly options. Those are hourly
Those
options.
are hourly options. Hey, maybe I should open up an
Well,
account
what are you
there as
talking
well.
about? You betting whether that's going to win or lose is
So what
enough.
are we doing? We should just do these markets. We should just do like hourly markets and
No,
not have
you
to sit.
can. And listen, I'm looking at it very seriously now to put
Yeah,
somebody into this space because it's a way better space. Way better space. Okay. It's one market plus or minus next 20 minutes. And Ken and Jane are on your team. They're on your team. You know what I mean? If you could see, like, it's very easy to see how much money is bet. You could see how much money is bet on this stuff. So they're on your
yeah,
team. So if all of a sudden you see $150 million bet, someone has a vested interest in that happening in the next 30 minutes. Okay.
that's very interesting. happening. That is
Oh,
actually
it's
stupid.
changed the mantra and dynamics of our markets. Okay. Nobody is going to need this stuff. Okay. Nobody. I mean,
Larry,
why do
are
you
you
need?
adapting to the market? Is that what's happening? You're actually adapting to the market? That's
No,
great.
I've always adapted to the market. It's just the one thing that's missing in what I do is the talent of being what used to be a great trader. That there's no great traders. None. Zero. None. There might be great computers, there might be great front runners. There's no great traders. And there's a
No great.
hopefully a guy on my podcast who I talk to pretty much every single day who is a great trader. Okay. And if he thinks he's a great trader in this environment, it's all luck. Eric, it's all luck. This is all
All
luck. All luck. It's all yesterday. Dude, you chirped for 2 days about the
I never
6,900.
chirp. I actually never chirp, but okay, go
Okay,
on.
well, you were talking about the 6,900 calls. They blew through that yesterday. Okay, blew through it.
Temporary.
Oh, I know. Wait, you're dying. Wait, dime. You're perfect meme. Diamond hands, dude. Were
Yeah,
you
but
on
no,
the
no, no, no,
boat?
no,
Were
no,
you
no.
on the
Not
boat
diamond.
holding on?
It's not diamond hands. Me and you trade out of the money credit spreads in a
Eric,
completely
they
different.
were in the
The
money.
way you trade them, is the way I trade futures. Your whole P&L rests on these credit spreads. Mine, I position that
Eric, it's not
small
a. We're
enough
not even talking
where
about your Oh my
when
God.
it goes in the money, I don't care as
Oh
much
my.
because I
Oh,
have other stuff
okay.
in
You
the book.
don't care? Okay. Why don't you
As
care?
I could sit in it without having to
Why?
start selling massive put spreads on the other side.
Why though? How? Then you must have a one lot on. I mean, I don't know
Not,
how you can
not
sit
a
in
whole
it.
lot. No, I position it where if I take max loss, I'm not going to lose more than like 3 to 5% of my account.
Okay, but that's still bad. Dude, this is the statement, and then I want to touch on some markets. Okay, this is the statement. You put a spread on, you got your ass kicked. Dude, I had it too. I was higher up and it hurt me a little. Okay, we got lucky. You got lucky that the market came in. If the market ripped up, you would have had your 5% loss, and no one wants to take any loss. So, what I'm telling you is this is all luck. This is There's no trading skill involved here. It's all luck. You don't know why they're buying. Dude, listen, the S&P is near the lows of the day. I believe maybe there's a cash out of expiration today. Maybe they'll punch this thing down on the opening. Okay, but from where we opened yesterday to where we're opening today is the move of the year. Okay, the move of the year. Okay, whatever the S&P is up for the year, it gave back on this move. Yesterday, when we made 2 days ago, we made the low of the year intraday and rallied 100 handles. How is this? What I'm saying is, how do you know? Like right now, you're looking at the market, and then I want to talk about currencies. I want to talk about oil, but how do you? What are you looking at to know what's going to happen today? That's all. I am telling you that I can't tell. My clues are telling me the market should be a lot lower than this. You got the DAX down 1% and change. You had Nikkei down lower after the market. You have every market in the world down, and we're barely down. Okay. So that's a clue I look at to be a little bit cautious, but they'll turn the knob and do a fool's clue, false clue of this and that, and whatever. So I'm going to leave it with the equity
Right,
markets.
exactly. You know that knob is going to get turned, or there's a high chance of that knob
We
getting
don't
turned.
know. What if the knob's turned to the
No,
sell
no, no.
side and let's say we go down
You know
another
every
50 handles?
no,
Eric,
you know every day that they are going to turn the knob and try to trick everyone. So just
Eric,
wait
I
until that
get it,
knob
but
gets.
but that's what I'm asking you is the trick to the downside because everybody is so calm and
No,
cautious
the
and,
trick is waiting
and
for the knob to get turned. That's the
dude,
trick.
the knob turned 7 times yesterday. I'm not even. We're done. This conversation is over. We were down to up, down to up, down to up 14 times yesterday. I know, right? Dude. Okay. This is my suggestion, and we're leaving the market. Okay. I would look to sell spreads. Okay, which we did, and we've been making money all the time. We haven't had a losing trade. Knock on wood. I'm going to jinx it all year. Okay. And what I'm going to wait for today is the market to be down 70 and sell a put spread down 50 from there. Okay. Otherwise, I'm not doing that. If the market rallies up to flat on the day, I'm selling an upside call spread. That's what you got to do today. You cannot get involved in this noise.
I like it.
Market
I
should
like
be
it.
lower
You're
than
gonna wait until they turn the knob, basically.
okay. Listen. Next thing, oil, which I missed. Okay. Oil is 66.36 on the high of the move. Okay. I mean, I'm looking at this two ways. Okay. This market will continue to rally as Middle East tensions continue on. And I'm actually thinking, and I've been bullish oil, I'm thinking the reaction to the bombing has to be sold. Okay. Just like it was last time. Okay. Because whatever we're going to do, okay, unless something crazy happens, is going to be a one hit wonder, meaning we're going to hit them hard or whatever we're going to do, take out, all their stuff and take out their government, and then they're done, and oil will trade lower after that. But the trick component there is if it lasts more than one day. If we actually go in boots on the ground, there's a lot of things. Um, I think Polymarket is underestimating with their odds the potential chance of a strike. I think they're going to strike by this weekend. That's just my opinion. Um, I don't know what we're waiting for. We have the assets there. Everything is in place. I was listening to John Bolton, who used to be the head of, his whole thing until they had a fight. He's saying, he's too chicken to do it. But I think they're just waiting for him to give the order. They're ready to go. So we'll see about that. So that's the trade in oil. Interestingly enough, the dollar is showing some strength here. Um, we missed that trade. I actually like shorting the euro back up at 119. If the dollar shows a little bit more strength, I think it's range bound. So if you can get the dollar long, the euro long against the dollar in 116, that's good there. So we covered oil, we covered currencies, yen chopping around, and then you know, like look what you're seeing in spot silver and gold, all coming off right now as the market, slowly fades. If the market does not rally today, I would think that, silver has the chance to trade under $75 and gold probably down about 50 points from here. And if the market gets even worse, it could be worse. Very linked. I think you picked up on that correlation pretty well. Now they can delink it later today, but right now it's been pretty linked, right? So we covered the metals. Nat gas, is the same trade it's been for years. They had the one, once in a century storm, and now it's back to $3. I don't know if there's any other markets that you want to take a look at, but you know, right now market, equity markets are down, 30 and 40 basis points, not a lot. If it gets down a percent today, it could get interesting because one of these times they're not going to bring it back. They're just not going to bring it back. So I'm not saying today is that day, but my thought from me to you, and we touched on this a lot on this podcast, but like if there's no news in the market and there's really, Walmart had earnings, stocks lower, bad guidance, right? There's not a lot. You had Fed cautious, Fed really confused. Some Fed members actually said they were going to raise rates. Okay. Like what's going to make the market move $50 from here? I mean, it will just because it's a degenerate gambling tool, but what makes it move like that? I'm just asking you.
Resolution to a narrative. So yesterday's narrative is, oil is up on Iran. I don't know. Trump is going to probably say something today. So look for something like that.
Why is
This is
Trump
all
going to? Trump
narrative
hasn't said
driven.
anything in days. Trump hasn't even been in the market. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I don't know why if we moved all these assets to the Middle East, why we're not striking them. We're just
We
waiting.
moved quite a bit of assets to the Middle East. Quite a bit.
Oh,
It's a
huge
lot
amount.
of assets
Huge amount.
there. Yeah.
Fighter jet, crazy amount. Wait, but better than that. You know what Iran's been doing in the last 2 days? boarding up their nuclear capacities, moving the enriched uranium out of the nuclear, hold, and hiding it in some mountain somewhere. And now we've given them a chance to basically be ready to be hit. I mean, what are we doing? Like, we're going to wait more, let them move more stuff, let them, get people in play. Like, explain to me, what are we doing? Why? Why is he so afraid? He already struck him once, right? He destroyed everything. Remember the last time? Dude, it's kind of like when he says we have a comprehensive format for a deal. Like, we destroyed their nuclear capacity. We didn't do anything, dude. We barely hit them. I'm just telling you, barely hit them. So it's time to do what is necessary. And what is necessary in my book is to take out that regime. No one wants that regime. Their own country doesn't want it. We need to take it out. Take out the regime, okay? And basically, why are we negotiating with Iran about their nuclear capacity? Should Iran have nuclear capacity? What's the reason why? They're a bad actor. Take out their nuclear capacity. What are we doing? That's what I'm not understanding. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why are we waiting? Listen, it may happen today. I'm not saying when it's going to happen. Okay. But what are we waiting for? They literally had reports showing that they moved all the assets. Why do we let them move all the assets? Silly. But anyway, I think that will be interesting. What do you think the market will do on a strike? Is it going to get collapsed? Is it going to rally? Like, what is going to happen?
I don't
Obviously,
think
it's
it's, I,
probably
I don't think it's going to rally.
no.
No, not initially. I know one
Eric,
thing: gold's
it literally go look. Hey, can you look when we bombed them and what happened? Dude, we exploded up when we bombed them the last time. Exploded up. I'm gonna get exactly what happened, but we exploded up. Oil exploded up. Intraday reversed and went down 20 points. Just telling you. So I don't know what we're gonna do. I hope we go down. I hope there's trading, and I hope uncertainty, hits the market. But I'm not for sure what's gonna happen. It was in July. Uh, So, anyway, I think we covered the bases. I don't know if there's something you're looking at. I think safe today is up 70 from where we are. I can't even believe I'm saying this. Up 70, up 70 from where we are, which would be the move of the entire year, or down 90, you know.
Yeah, but again, I'm looking at like a 60. You're saying up 70. Okay, I'm looking at a 69.25 call. It's trading at $1.20.
Okay, so then up 60. I don't know. Whatever. I'm listen, I'm short them all, so I hope they're zeros.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you shorted them all when they were like at 5 and 6 and 7.
I don't know, dude. Okay, so let's say the cash, where's implied cash right now? 50 something?
60, 68,
54. 54.
50.
54. 54. So I would say up 50 from here is safe, and I think they're bid. I think they're $4 or $5. Okay, I mean that's a lot, dude. That's a lot. There's a lot you can do around that, you know. But right now, I mean, listen, even though the market's down, they have an insatiable appetite to always buy. You know what? Let's look at what happened on Monday, right? We traded the low of the year midday, mid morning Monday, and
You mean
exploded
Tuesday?
up. I mean,
You mean Tuesday?
what?
You mean Tuesday? Monday we were off.
Right, Tuesday. That's only 2 days ago. We traded the low of the move, and they rallied 150 handles on air for no reason. What came out? There wasn't good earnings. There's not any stock acting well. Dude, they're just going to go like this: buy Apple, sell Tesla, buy Tesla, sell Apple, buy Nvidia, sell Microsoft. I mean, come on. I mean, I've traded markets for 40 years plus. Market's never been like this. It's a crazy market. This is a crazy. Do you understand a crazy tape? It doesn't make
This is a
sense.
bifurcation.
Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. That's all I could say. And it's a full out gambling casino. Just remember that, all folks. It's just a gambling casino. Listen, when in the history of my trading, up until maybe 2, 3 years ago, when they listed zero DTs every day, nobody cared really where the market went out today. It was irrelevant. Oh, went out at 60, went out at 70, went out at 50. Do you know how much wagering is placed on all of these things on a daily basis? That is insane. And let me ask you, do you think this thing can break? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it can
hundred
break,
percent.
dude. Do you know there was a guy? It actually might be you. I don't even know. It could be you. Okay. Captain Condor. Did you ever read about this guy? Oh my God. Captain Condor had a room filled with people selling iron condor. You don't know who Captain Condor is. Hey, look up
Never
the
heard of him.
article on Captain Condor and send it to him. Okay. Captain Condor was leading an army of idiots, and they were selling iron condors. And then they were, I forgot the word you use when you parlay, and rather than get smaller, you double and double and double and double and double. They kept doubling
Martingale.
and doubling. What?
Martingale.
Yeah, whatever it is, they were doubling, 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 doubling. The guy lost everything, hundreds of millions of dollars for himself and all his customers. Captain Condor, that's you. So, so this is what's in the market, dude, and you can have. Listen, we have a lot of subscribers at the Opportunistic Trader, and I'm thankful and happy, and I'm happy to help. And I want to, I treat that with the utmost respect and discipline because I know people are counting on it, and we are there to protect them and teach them. Okay. But that's not what's in the market, dude. What's in the market is an all or none attitude on a daily basis. And this Captain Condor basically did what you said, martingale, whatever, every single day, and in 5 days he blew himself up on a $20 condor. He put on hold on, he
Yeah,
put on 90,000 contracts, and the market moved 14 points, and he went out of business. I mean, is that an intelligent strategy? Crazy. Okay, so maybe you're him. That it's like the Eminem song. Maybe you're Stan. Maybe you're that guy. Maybe you're the Captain Condor. I don't know, but there's a lot of unsophisticated trading being done in this market, and that Captain Condor guy led people to the slaughter. Okay, he had a room filled with people that were copying him. They were, dude. This guy was selling iron condors $20 out of the money, and it happened. I think during Thanksgiving. I think his last day was the Friday of Thanksgiving. That's not a good day to be trading that. But I'm sorry, Christmas then. Whatever it was like Christmas Eve. Whatever it was, they took this guy out. But that's, can I be honest with you? And then I want to wrap because we covered oil, we covered gold, we covered the metals, we covered the market, covered currencies, we covered it all. Covered the Fed, which I think is much more important than people think. But really, what my takeaway is the epic level of gambling is very disheartening, and being given, you know, to, I'm going to call it children, but it's not children. It's non-sophisticated investors that don't even know what an option is, you know? And that's where we sit here and eventually, listen, we haven't had a correction in forever, right? What if we had a correction right now? What do you think would happen? It would not be good. I can tell you that. Would not be good. People would be incinerated. So I would leave everybody with this: err on the side of caution. The market clues today are the market should be lower than this, but it's not. So just remember, all this is a trading crazy gambling algorithm. So it's just gambling. There is nothing to make the SPOO be down 20 or up 20 other than a bunch of gamblers moving the market around off of defined risk betting on Kalshi and Polymarket and Interactive Brokers and Robin. You can bet it on Robinhood, dude. Do you have a Robinhood account? You can bet on Robinhood.
I don't. I should open one up. I like this.
Oh, I have one, but I don't trade on it. But I watch all the stuff. It's crazy. You can bet anything, anything, anything. They have things on Kalshi. The announcer that's going to announce the hockey game for the U.S. Olympics, is he going to say the word ankle? Ankle. You could bet that. Knee. I mean, come on. You could like get to the guy and say, please say ankle. Talk about someone's ankle. I mean, it's insane. Why would anyone need to bet that? I'm just trying to understand. Why would anyone need to bet that? It's degenerates. Dude, it's at a
Degenerate.
level of degenerate. And I would say this, and I'm going to leave the podcast with this. When I was growing up, the biggest problems were probably drugs and alcohol, right? For kids growing up today that are 16 to 21, the biggest problem is gambling. Okay, by far, dwarfs drugs. They have access to everything on their phone. They can get credit. It's insane. So this is the problem. I do think it's going to derail the market, and I do think that when we do correct, there's going to be a lot of money lost here. Listen, there's been a lot of money lost. Bitcoin's down 60%. Silver's down 50, 40. Gold's down 30, and everybody's fine. Now they're gambling on defined. Dude, where is the Nasdaq going to be at 11? Let's look at the odds. Anyway, listen, I wish everyone luck. We're close to the opening. Just remember, no clues are true. They're all fake clues. Today, just watch on the opening. They'll buy Apple, sell Nvidia, buy Nvidia. This will end. Okay, this will end. It's not ending now, but this will end. Okay, and they'll be back to normal where all stocks go down and all stocks go up. And listen, this is not a bull market. Okay, if it was a bull market, okay, it wouldn't act like this. We had a bull market for 3 years on 14 volatility and no market movement. You know, the straddle was $20 to $30 for how long? 2, 3 years. I mean, we couldn't get anything. Now it's the opposite. You got a $50 straddle on a day where not a lot is going on, right?
Somebody on the chat said something brilliant, and they're like, "TT is my clue. Touchdown T. That's his clue."
What?
Somebody on the chat's like, "Touchdown Thomas is my clue."
I love it, dude. I love it. He's my clue too.
Walk out the door so the market could fall.
Dude, it's 9:30 and I think he hasn't made an error yet. Everybody, good luck today. Peace.